Tampa, right?
Right. Yes. Tampa. I'm in Tampa.
Right. Okay. So now I'm sure Tampa has changed a lot since I left, but and I've been back a few times to visit. But back then, I mean, Florida is a Republican state, and a lot of people don't think about these kind of things. But like before the internet, they could limit what you saw, what you heard, what you knew. So like, information about things, like part of my reason for wanting to go to New York was because I saw Paris is burning. That changed my life because I was like, oh my God, there are people out there like me who want to be a part of this thing and want to, do the stuff. And that wasn't going on in Florida. So, when I got the opportunity to go, the first time I went was in 1990 because I went to go audition for the Crime Game, which obviously I didn't get. But on that trip, I had met Madonna at the Sound Factory. I got to, go around clubbing and stuff. So the Sound Factory was a big deal. The Limelight, all of these places, I actually got to go in 90. And then when I moved there in 92, I was hanging out. I was going to, not so much the Palladium. I went there a couple of times, and I ended up spinning there once. But there were small little parties all over the place, and mainly over in the East Village that I liked. The original Pro Bar with characters like Girlina, which doesn't go by Girlina anymore. She's Alina. And just meeting all of these people like Lady Bunny and all of these people who were part of that scene, and then seeing how it all blended with people like Willie Ninja and Octavia and all of these people. And, I came to New York. The first person who took me in was a queen named the Electrifying Grace. And I don't really think Grace was part of the ball scene, but everyone knew Grace because she was an MC at Midtown 43. And everybody went there. And so she got me my first job at Sally's. So I just seen Paris is Burning, and then all of a sudden I'm working at the club where Energy Extravaganza and Dorian Corey and all of these people were that, they hung out there. They came, they came for the shows. They performed. Or they were just there. And I'm like this bright-eyed 22-year-old with, just learning about the whole scene, and it was quite the education. Upstairs from Grace's place, Paris Dupree lived upstairs, so that was my neighbor. And so when she would go out of town,
you're giving us
I know.
tea. Hold on, we need another cup. Waiter, butler, bring us 2 cups, darling. Keep going.
So when Paris would go out of town, like to Philly, to do her balls or whatever, I would watch her apartment. These were I consider Grace, Paris Dupree, Dorian Corey, Pepe LaBeija, which also in that first summer, Pepe LaBeija came in and she saw me and she was like, you remind me of me when I was your age. And, then she saw I performed for a benefit for Grace because Grace wasn't doing well health-wise. And so Dorian Corey talked me into doing this benefit show. And I was like, well, I would like to do it. I divulged that I had done drag. And no one knew that I did drag at that point. And I said, I would like to do it, but I don't really have any clothes. I gave up my drag or whatever a while ago. And she was like, oh, well, I'll fix that, darling. And next thing I know, she made a dress for me. And I still have some of the outfits that Dorian Corey made for me. I will not let those go. I don't care how old they are or whatever. I'm not letting those go. To me, they should be in the Smithsonian or something.
I know that's right.
And so that's kind of how Jade Electra came about, because in Florida, my drag name was Ebony. And it was Ebony, and then it morphed into Ebony Fashions, which was actually a read because I only had one outfit, so they were being shady when they would call me that. But then eventually, bitch started winning contests and stuff and getting her little coins together, and she got her outfits, and then the fashion part really did fit. So, out of nowhere, I get to New York, and there was already an Ebony Jet in New York, so I didn't want to go by Ebony there. And Jade Electra's name is actually kind of homage to the Electrifying Grace, but I wasn't going to call myself the Electrifying Jade, so I made it Jade Electra. So that's kind of how the name came about.
That's how she was born, darling. Wow. Let me ask you a question. How did you get into music?
Well, I mean, I've always been into music. I got my first record player when I was 5. I went to my first concert, which was the Jackson 5 back in I'm not going to say the year, but it was a long time ago, darling. But in 1980, my uncle Herb King moved to Tampa, and I became his assistant at a radio station. So that's officially when I say that I started DJing. I took a trip to Chicago. I took a trip to Chicago around 83. And that's when I heard mixing for the first time and house music and all that, and I was hooked. And so when I got back to Florida, I saved up my little pennies and bought some Radio Shack turntables. I don't even know if they have those. But got me some Radio Shack turntables and a Radio Shack mixer, which is actually sitting right in front of me right now. I still have the mixer. I taught myself, me and my best friend, we would go in my bedroom and sit and try and mix records for hours until we got it. And that's how it started.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love hearing little stories like that about, the beginning of your craft. Something about it so magical. So, now, Jade Electra was born, and tell me more.
Well, I mean, that was a magical time because when I started doing drag, I met Harmonica Sunbeam, and we became really good friends. And at the same time that I was working at Sally's, I was also working at this strip joint called Legs Diamonds, and it was a straight place for girls. And the reason that they liked me as a DJ there was because I was gay, because they were having problems with the DJs because they were, this is uncensored, correct?
Of course, you can say whatever, yes.
Oh, okay, well, because they ain't no nice bad saying that the DJs were fucking the girls, and they didn't want that going on because it would cause too many problems.
And a lot of the girls thought there was a rumor saying that it was because the DJs were straight and but you just flipped the tea.
Right. I came in and it was a shop. The only thing they could offer me was some makeup tips, because that was it. So I was like, you ain't got nothing that I want, hon. I came to work, as Harmonica Sunbeam would say, I came to work, darling. Okay. I didn't come for nothing else, no more extras. So, I would go in and do my job, but they were closed on Sundays, and I decided to talk the owner into letting me produce the first drag show that I put together for New York, which was The Illusions. Mm-hmm. And so that consisted of me, Harmonica Sunbeam, Tira Colbert, Sybil Barrington, Christian, we called him Christian Women, but I don't know what his, I can't remember his real last name, but it was a group of us, and we put together this drag show, so that's where The Illusions started. And The Illusions eventually shrunk down to just the four of us, me, Harmonica, Sybil Barrington, and Tira, and then Tira left, and it was Victoria Lace. And we ended up working at Copeland's in Harlem on 145th and Broadway. Yeah. Right, and we would do a show there every Thursday, and that was a great experience. I mean, people like Flavor Flav and Clarice Taylor. Clarice Taylor played Bill Cosby's mother on The Cosby Show. Phyllis Stickney, all of these black actors and actresses would come through and watch our show on Thursdays, and it was amazing. And our closing show actually ended at the Cotton Club. and that was an experience as well. Although it was one of the best nights of our group, but it was a very frustrating night for me because I tried to get a lot of press to come, and the Village Voice, they didn't send anyone, and this was history being made because there hadn't been a drag show in Harlem at the Cotton Club since the Jewel Box Review.
Wow.
So this was a really major thing, but no one other than the people who came to see it really knew anything about it. And I tried to get the press there. I tried to get the little fag rags in New York like Next Magazine and HX to come out, and they totally ignored it. And instead, the week that that happened, they ran a story, instead of them covering that historical event, they ran a story about Candace Cain's nose job. Ooh. So I wrote them one shady old letter to both magazines saying, this was shitty of you. This was really, really shitty. Because we did something historical, and you're writing about a stupid nose job for a queen. I mean, no disrespect to Candace, and I know she is who she is now, but this was way before that. And whatever. And unfortunately, sometimes my mouth has caused some people to be turned off by some of my events because I just tell it like it is. If I feel like something is wrong or that you have not done what you should have done, I will say so.
If they only knew that you were ahead of your time, because now it's common.
So because I did that, those magazines never covered anything that we did after that. Which I did mine at the time, but I also did mine because I was just like, you just don't get it. You don't understand that this is something really, this is something really important historically, and you should have been there. Our group, the Illusions, we traveled a little. We did go down to Philly, and I know that you had Flawless Sabrina on, I think a couple of weeks ago, correct?
Yes, it was last Monday.
Oh, last Monday, okay.
Yes.
And, so the movie that Flawless Sabrina was in, The Queen, the person who produced that pageant was Joey Venuti. Wow. And Joey Venuti used to run a club in Philly, and the Illusions used to go down and perform at that club. So, at the time, I didn't know, I hadn't seen The Queen at that time. But I learned about who he was much later. But, it was so bizarre to me that all of these historical figures were right around me, and I was working with them and, dealing with them all the time. And I knew who the people were from Paris is Burning, but someone like Joey Venuti, I had no clue at all. So now thinking back that he actually liked our group enough to bring us down from New York, that was a big deal, because of they had their own queens down in Philly. Why would they need this group of black queens from New York? But they really enjoyed our show. And, and the thing about our show, which I worked on and in the casting, was that everybody had their roles. So Harmonica was the MC, obviously the comedian. I considered myself to be the sex pot because I did all the sexy little numbers. Yeah. And then Sybil Barrington was the torch song girl, so she did the Patti LaBelle's and all that stuff, the Jennifer Holidays and all that. And then Tira, when she was going to...
Miss LaBelle.
Yeah. And then Tira...
We love you, Daryl.
Tira was... I'm sorry?
No, we talking about Miss Wenzel, so be careful. Don't talk about LaBelle. Miss Wenzel's
gonna
pop up. I'm just kidding. I love you, Wenzel, if you're tuning in. Just want to give you a shout out. Okay.
So, and Tira was our dancer, so she did all the dance numbers, and she also did a really great Grace Jones and stuff like that. So we had a little of everything covered in the show. And the Sex Kitten numbers that I did were Eartha Kitt and stuff like that. So we had a little of something for everyone in the show, so it was a good mix. And I think that that's one of the things that's missing in drag right now. I know everybody's all Drag Race crazy, but to me, Drag Race is one of the worst things that's ever happened to drag, because it's not about drag. It's not about the actual art of performing. it's about being a personality or